7 o'clock. It's time for the town hall meeting. So thank you everyone for coming. This is a time where you can come up and speak if you want. You have 5 minutes. If you come to the microphone, you can state your name for the record. This is not a business meeting of the City Commission. This agenda is for the purpose of notifying the public of an opportunity to bring comments and questions to the City Commission's attention. So if there's no one to come up and speak, we do have a couple announcements to follow that. So we'll just go ahead and start.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners.
Good evening.
As you guys know, our utility billing software has gone live. We want to take a second to really thank the public for their patience as we transition into this new software. We also want to apologize for any inconvenience that this may have caused. We know that transitions to new software can be a burden, can be a hassle, so we really do apologize for that. We want the public to know that there are still 6 forms of payment that they can take advantage of. There's the automatic bank withdrawal. They can also do online payment. There's the Jack kiosk out front. Also the Dropbox automated phone system that they can call. The number to that is 620-276-1100. And then they can do cash, check, money order, credit or debit cards at either our drive-through window or in person at our 301 North 8th Street office down below at Service and Finance. And our hours are from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. So again, we really do want to apologize. We know this transition has been difficult. We're dealing with some challenges with this integration, so the public's patience is greatly appreciated. We also want people to know that if you did create an account in the old system for online bill payment or automatic withdrawal, you do have to create a new account in the new software system. You can find a link to that portal on our webpage, also on all of our social media platforms, or we send it out in the utility bills in December. So there's a QR code that went to each utility bill in December. That QR code, that link that you can click on, will take you to the Citizen Action Center where you can register and use your email and create a password, and then provide the necessary account details such as your account number, your billing zip code, and the account number's name that's associated with the account. So you can choose between a personal or business account, and then you can sign up or opt in for email or text notifications for utility billing updates. So again, for any assistance, we encourage you guys to call us at 620-276-1100 or have the public come see us at 301 North 8th Street. And again, our hours are 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. But please note that this is important, that we cannot set up your user name and password for you. And this is to uphold security standards, ensuring that customers independently manage their credentials. And this helps us minimize the risk of unauthorized access and aligns with privacy regulations to protect sensitive customer information. So we really do appreciate the citizens, the community's patience, again, for this inconvenience. But please reach out to us. We are more than happy to help. So come and see us in person or give us a call. And I'm going to bring up our finance director, Jared Coleman, to kind of explain the delay in billing. We're not going to be charging late fees for this billing side, but he can kind of explain it a little bit better than I can.
I did have just a comment. So I had set up my own, I forgot to set up my dad's, and so he got a disconnect notice. But one thing I thought we might be helpful is to include that same activity in the disconnect notices, knowing that it's not truly a disconnect, but they didn't have any of the notice, but that was easily defined on our website. But if you're not a web user or if you don't do text and email, that's where, so that might be something we include in the disconnect notices.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's one of the things we've really struggled with, is trying to communicate with the older generation and the newer generation that exists inside of our community. So we just want to get the word out there and spread it. And that's a very good point.
I thought it was, it's really easy once you get into it. But like I said, it didn't really have a link in there or these other ways, which I think are really excellent.
Right.
That that those are still available. But that would be in the disconnect notices, especially since those are the ways that people will actually react to. Yeah. So that might be a way to really, hopefully, head off some of those. But it wasn't in his. Well, that he told me. He brought it over and he said, "Hey, did you forget something?" And so anyway, it's taken care of now. But he'll have heat and electricity. So.
We appreciate it.
Yes.
So I just kind of want to touch on some of the major kind of complaints and kind of the background, the why some of these things are happening the way they are. So probably the first question we got asked a lot from customers is, I used to pay through ACH, you had my bank account information, why didn't you just take that to the new system, transfer it over, why do I have to set this back up? And it was an intentional decision. So in the past, if you wanted to have the city process an ACH transaction, you would fill out a form, you'd put your bank account information, you'd put all kind of your personal details on there, bring a voided check or some letter from your bank. We would maintain that record because if we ever had an issue with the account not going through or the transaction, we'd have to go back and check that account number, make sure it's right. Well, that's a lot of access for us as the city staff or as my staff to have of these people's personal account information. There's a lot of compliance changes that have happened over the last few years due to fraud and due to concerns to where it's really not best practice for over-the-counter clerks to get that information or to have access ever to that information. Same reason why we don't necessarily take credit cards over the phone or kind of give your credit card information to somebody. A lot of those card readers are now on the customer side. You're in control, you tap it, you control it, and you don't hand your card over like you used to. It's just ways to prevent fraud. And so we intentionally are utilizing the new portal where the customer actually can go in and put in their bank account information. They can put in their credit card information if they choose to do that auto payment. And we never see it. We never have access to it. It's in that secure portal. And so that control and that opportunity for maybe some bad activity to happen has been removed. And so we intentionally didn't carry those accounts over because we want to refresh and we're going to kind of purge our knowledge of those account numbers so that the customer has a more secure opportunity there. So that was kind of one of the questions we got a lot is, I don't want to have a specific account, just you've got my info, transfer it over. And so it was intentional, and there's a reason we're not taking that back. We do have iPads, I just want to kind of mention as well as a lot of people have a harder time setting up new accounts. We have iPads in our office. If you're unfamiliar or uncomfortable doing it at home, if you come to our office, we'll walk you through the process. Like Derek mentioned, we're not going to put in your username and password for you because we want you to have that security. But we'll help you. We'll stand right there with you with the iPad, talk you through the whole process. When you go on the Citizen Action Center website, there's a link that says, click here for the how-to, and it has PDF documentation that talks you through every step and exactly how to do this. But it's unfamiliar, so if you need help, we're here to help. Our phones have been very, very active with this transition. So our call volume has increased substantially, and so we aren't able to answer the phone every time. So if it rings with us and we can't get to it, it's actually going to the Utility Service Center, the Electric and Water Department. They're helping to kind of facilitate answering the simple questions we get all the time, or taking messages to then refer our staff so we can answer them when we have a second and then get back. So we're trying to reach back out to the public in every way we can think of. I've got 4 clerks in my office, and they're just inundated with the volume of this transfer or this transition. I'll point out it's been over 15 years since we've been in a new system, so these growing pains come. This is just kind of part of the process of a change, but this is a temporary pain that then hopefully is another long-term solution. Trying to think of the other major questions. The billing right now, we are changing kind of our practice for our billing routine. In the past, our rotations were built off of routes, and so it used to be that we'd have our servicemen drive around town. They'd meter read based off of the route that was designated that made it most convenient, and so we build that route one at a time based off location in town to make it functional for them to be able to drive around and get those meter reads. Well, that's pretty antiquated. We still had all those routes, and we were billing 20 plus times a month through this procedure to stick with those old routes that we had generated and built over time. And the ones kind of on the edge of town were just getting bigger and bigger as we added addresses, which was fine because now it didn't matter, but it wasn't really the most efficient means of billing and processing transactions. And so we've consolidated those routes to a handful of rotation cycles. So 4 times a month we'll bill. And so if you were in cycle 1 and 2, they're going to be now together, where you might have been billed on the 5th, and then they were typically the 7th, now they'll be together kind of on the 7th. Or if you were on the 10th, the 12th, and the 18th for billing cycle 3, 4, or 5, you're going to be on the 15th. Like it's kind of consolidating those down. So some customers might see a change to their more regular date that they got their bill, or that bill was due. But after the first little transition here, it'll be very regular again. It'll go back to that a routine experience. We're going to bill the same cycles on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Wednesdays every month to make it that kind of habitual process we've experienced in the past. But it will probably shift the timing of maybe when they were used to it. These first couple cycles, we've hit some snags, we've had hiccups, with everything. You think everything's ready, and then, technology does what technology does, and things don't quite work. So we have been about 7 to 10 days behind for each cycle that we're billing of what we anticipated and had hoped for. So if customers haven't got a bill yet, it's coming, we're just a little bit delayed. So if you normally would have got your bill right about now, it's probably gonna be another week maybe before you see it. If you would have got billed last week, it probably came or is in the mail right now. And so if you have concerns with that, you can call our office, we'll tell you if it's come out yet, but that's probably the most common thing we're getting right now is, hey, don't you want my money? You haven't billed me. And so they're coming, we're just a little bit behind. With the transition, we aren't disconnecting, so we're being very cognizant to your point. We sent out notices through the stuffing them in the notices that went out. If customers have an e-bill, that they didn't get that extra piece of paper notice because it goes electronic, and then they see it through the old portal, and there wasn't a way to get that extra flyer in there.
I see, yeah.
So we use social media as much as possible and really been pushing communication, but it's kind of almost impossible to get them all. Like we've tried to do everything we could, but we knew that disconnect notice might be that final red alert that says, hey, something's going on here. So we're not disconnecting, but we're still putting that disconnect notice to be that kind of alarm to go off to say, I need to talk to the city and see what's going on here. And then we can get them set up on the new portal, get them set up. So we'll maintain that for a little while here while we transition to not have those disconnects. We're not assessing late penalties due to the timing of those bills. And then if your bill's coming out a week later than normal, that due date's also getting pushed back a week or two. The same time frame to pay those bills will be the same time frame you've had in the past. So we're doing a lot to try to make sure that pain is as minimal as possible, but we are struggling a little bit to just have it roll out seamless. It hasn't been as perfect as we hoped, but I want to give credit to my staff. They've been through the ringer for the last 12 months. We did the financial software integration for all of our kind of accounts payable and financial system. We just rolled out the payroll and HR module, and those both infect the internal staff a lot, not so much the outside public, but this is the one that's kind of impacting the outside public. But our staff's been through 3 different software transitions within a 12-month period, and that's a lot. And so they have weathered the storm well. They're doing outstanding work to maintain positive attitudes, make sure they put customer service first, try to help customers as much as possible. We're putting extra load on their plate to facilitate all of this, but a little extra patience with WIC is our ask. Work with us a little bit. We promise we're doing everything we can to get it resolved, and hopefully here in the next month things will be smooth, and this will be another 15-year thing that we never have to worry about again. But if you have any questions specifically, if you've had concerns brought up to you that I can address, I'd be happy to. I know it's been a very public or very commented transition that we're trying to make sure we communicate as best we can.
So is it even pay if they want even pay? Is that because I know you used to have to come in and do even pay. Somebody asked me and I said, well, if you were on even pay before, when they sign it up, it's going to be still on even pay. Is that correct?
Yeah. Budget
And then you can also sign up for even pay online too now, or?
So budget billing will still come through our office. We look at a couple different factors to determine if you're eligible for budget billing,
Okay.
and then there's a kind of a math formula to look at what that bill has been and what's that need to be for the year. And then that's something that's reviewed every year. So throughout the year, if you average would say you pay $200, that's the average. Winter might go low or high, summer goes high or low. It's kind of, you never know. So you'll pay that same amount. Your bill will reflect that even though you have a balance of $400 owed, it'll say your payment due is $200 because you might have had the last few months are your high months. And so that balance reflects kind of that activity across the whole period, even though your payment's going to still show that $200 is due because that's your budget billing. But then at the end of that 12-month period when we kind of reassess, that outstanding balance is going to tell us, okay, maybe we missed the mark on this year. Your bill needs to increase for next year by $30 a month to better track with that target. Or you cut your stuff down this year, you didn't use as much, your kids left the house, lights aren't left on all the time. So now we're going to take down $40 and you're paying $60. That balance will stay on the bills and kind of show you where that kind of delta is. But then it's still going to be that same payment until that renewing every year that we kind of reassess those budget billing. But yeah, still an option. If you were on budget billing, you're still on budget billing. If your bill looks a little weird because it's just not what you're used to, feel free to ask us. We'll make sure that it's right. There have been some instances where there's things that just kind of got a little bit quirky in the system, and so it's us learning what we're looking at and why it looks the way it is. So we're happy to talk through. If you think something's wrong, we're happy to check it, make sure it's right.
Taylor, I know you mentioned that we had the physical copies of their direct deposits or direct withdrawals before, and I assume we dispose of them? How did we do that? Did
So
we?
we still hold on because with some of those last payments, if there's a return on any of those, or there was an issue with that January transaction, we still need to have that account information to go and rectify that.
Okay.
But once we've kind of confirmed, like, hey, everything's smooth transition, we're ready to go, there's no more of these bills that didn't process or that got kind of returned after the fact. Sometimes that can be even a month or two later, we'll get a notification of this transaction got, disputed or something. So we'll have to hold on for a while, but we'll shred them, we'll dispose of them where they're unusable. And right now, they're secured in our vault, where they're only accessible to our staff and very secure, just like all of our other records for the building.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't ask where that's at, because I'll send you on the next time.
Yeah. We'll find it.
Anything else?
All right.
Thank you. Well, thanks to all the staff that had, taken calls and put this together and explanations. And I know Derek spoke on the radio, so has that aired already for?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll probably be aired a few times throughout the week, so.
Yeah, and we'll be sending out a social media how-to video again, and we'll be re-airing that tomorrow morning.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll be sending out a social media how-to video again. We did that, I think, January 4th, so that's going to be coming out tomorrow morning. So you guys can share that, so we'll definitely share that. So it'll kind of walk you step by step how to register for the account.
appreciate it. I did have one other, I don't know if water, the last town hall meeting, we had some concerns in the community about some sewer. And that, I just wanted to kind of get that out there in public to notify that there is in process of a solution and getting some headway on that. Can you talk about that a little bit, just to kind of give an update?
Yeah, we have our program in place for that system to be, I can't really speak to it too much, that's more here. But yeah, we do have that program in place, so citizens can take advantage of that.
Yep, okay.
So, yeah, and we can give you some more information.
If you bring it back.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Anything else?
It was a great day. This is a
Yeah.
beautiful day.
It was very nice. Nice day.
All right, well, thank you for all the information that was shared today, so appreciate it. All right, with that, I guess we'll close the meeting. Thanks for coming.
It's a lot quieter the second time.
Sorry, yeah.
And the first time.